So strange occurrences and natural phenomena. Do they have significant value? Are they real? Or are they just coincidences?
Well, there's definitely meaning. I've seen some stuff.
You know, I think sometimes we have a tendency to attempt to make meaning out of things that happen in our everyday lives, even the most insignificant events.
Back in 1989, right, there was these two mathematicians that defined coincidence as a surprising concurrence of events, right? Perceived as meaningfully related with no apparent causal connection. So, I mean, if you want to look at it analytically speaking, there's no real reason or, meaningful relationship to any of the things that happen.
You, along with these scientists, y'all are just trying to kill my vibe. I think that's what's going on.
That's just science, though. I mean, you have to think of it like mathematics, right? For example, I don't know if you knew that if you put 100 people in a room, there's a 99.97% chance that 2 of those people are going to have the same birthday.
That sounds like a big coincidence to me.
I mean, that's just science. I don't know what to tell you.
Is it a coincidence that you two can't seem to agree on anything?
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay. On that note, today we're going to be discussing random coincidences and strange phenomena that have happened to each of us, like our own experiences. And we're going to label the importance of coincidences as just coincidences, or maybe they have some other meaning to them.
Science!
So Maya, you mentioned that you've seen some things. What are some, and there's a lot of things that are out there in the universe that we've heard of, stories or things like that. So what are some things that you think are coincidences or something greater, like anything that you know about?
I know that there was some crazy fact that I saw that John Wilkes Booth, the guy who killed Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth's brother actually saved Abraham Lincoln's son.
Yeah,
that's
pretty wild. Because when I was younger, I remember...
It's just a coincidence, but anyway.
When I was younger, I remember, reading this whole list of things. You talk about coincidences, right? Between, President Lincoln and President Kennedy. And I just so happen to have them here.
Just real quick, a few of the things, right?
All right, go ahead.
Kennedy and Lincoln.
Yes.
Presidents,
right? So Abe Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John Kennedy was elected in 1946.
Okay.
Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Kennedy was elected in 1960. Both wives lost children while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. They were both shot from behind in the head while they were seated.
Right.
Both were succeeded. People came after them. Last name was Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Lyndon and Andrew, right?
Oh, this is a lot.
Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. Yep, for real. It's crazy. But check this one out. This is crazy.
What's the crazy one?
John Wilkes Booth, who shot Lincoln, right?
Yes.
He ran from a theater and was caught in a warehouse.
Right.
Yeah.
Oswald, right, who shot Kennedy, ran from a warehouse and was caught in the theater. And both of them were assassinated before their trials. That's crazy.
Oh,
that's a lot of coincidence.
That's a lot of coincidence.
So is it
cool?
So is
that's
that
crazy.
Is that a natural phenomenon or is that a coincidence? And we're going to talk a little bit about what the difference is between the two.
Okay.
But coincidences, they are like the same numbers, like you said, the birthdays and things like that. People make meaning of that.
That sounds like a reincarnation of a story in some kind of a way. That's what it
so that's more like a natural phenomenon.
I feel like it, but in that case, though, I feel like that might be just us seeing a lot of patterns in certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like human beings see patterns in just
we do see patterns.
Yeah, human beings are kind of just made to see patterns. That's how we kind of evolved to to be what we are. But those patterns could just be sort of like made up in a way to sort of like connect the dots to certain things, whether or not it's more so just like I said in the beginning, just more so mathematics and chance of something happening because that's
so what are some other things that kind of are things that are coincidences or natural phenomena? What are some other things that you can think about?
I want to figure out how the Simpsons know so freaking much. That's what I want to know. Like how they predicted what was Trump's presidency and things. They predicted a few things. So
I wish they wouldn't have.
I know, right?
But
is that inside scoop?
I think that's just
he would have won. Or even ran how many years later?
Right. Nobody was thinking that Trump was going to run for president.
I think what it is with the Simpsons writers is that a lot of them were smart or probably smarter than people can sort of give them credit for in terms of just in terms of predicting certain things because of just maybe things that they might have heard or something like that, or just you're sort of seeing like trends. Yeah, they have their ear to the ground, and I think you mentioned it. Like, I think it might be just that insider knowledge or stuff. Maybe a friend of a friend of a friend heard that Trump was talking about something like that.
Exactly. Like you said, you're looking for patterns, right? So the other, like intuition. Intuition is another thing that I think can kind of lend itself for like a natural phenomenon or a what do you call it? A coincidence type of thing.
Do y'all think you're intuitive? Any of y'all?
I think I'm very intuitive.
Yeah.
Well,
That's his superpower.
coincidence.
No, I just have a good.
Don't reveal too much. You don't, want.
No, I mean you can ask your mom. I think I'm real perceptive when it comes to people and situations.
Okay.
I'm real.
I get that.
Yeah, I'm real perceptive.
Would you say that's a heightened ability that you have?
I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
I just it's always been that way. I could sense certain things. I don't know if it's a situation of just being real
Perceptive.
watchful and watching things that's going on.
No,
or,
but I'm nosy, and I don't have that.
it's not a situation of being
That
nosy.
might be a little
That's
different.
different. Yeah, that's different than being intuitive.
Right.
No, I was going to say, in terms of being intuitive, I do think that certain things, I can't. Sometimes there's just certain vibes, certain energies, you know?
Oh.
I get
Yeah,
that.
And
I
that
think-
plays on the.
I think
it's
Maya, I think I
intuition.
passed that down to you.
You did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because coming in contact with a lot of people, especially since starting to do the show and when you were doing your show.
Yes.
And being, out there, it's like, coming across a lot of different people.
You get a
and-
vibe.
Oh yeah,
Right.
you feel that energy.
Me, I'm like, hey.
Right.
Sunshine and flowers.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these guys are like, So what about deja vu? Because deja vu is another occurrence.
I think deja vu is real also. I don't know, Marcus,
man.
how you feel about that?
I mean, well, I don't know. Deja vu for me, I mean,
Here comes
it's like
Mr. Analytical.
well, it's not
Science!
it's less analytical and just more so. I think your brain just sort of like comes up with these sort of like chemicals to sort of recreate what you sort of like think, right? Like for example, like if you see a house, right, and you think you see the house in a dream, or you thought you've seen that house before,
Right.
you might have seen a similar house because certain buildings just have a certain design that lend themselves to be similar to other buildings.
Nah, see, because, so for me, it's deeper.
It's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. It's not just the house, right? So I'll be in a situation, it's not even just that, the whole situation,
vibe,
from
right?
the people to the house to where I'm sitting, everything is like,
The smell.
right, and it could be a place that I've never been.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, and it just comes over you. It's
But
like,
have you?
But have you though? Do you remember maybe being there?
no, and
Remember
it's a
being
place,
in
no, and I'm saying it's a
like
place
that?
I know I've never been.
That happened to me. I had a dream
Uh-huh.
that I was in this room. I
yeah.
don't know
You
what
told
this
me
room
this.
was.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was sitting like on the bed, like looking out towards the door in the dresser.
Yeah.
And I go to one of my friend's houses for the first time ever.
Right.
And you and
I'm sitting in her bed. It was the exact same setup. I'm like, what is that?
That was her first time there.
And I'd never been to her house. And I had that dream like shortly before I went there the first
That's
That's kind of cool.
It's a
creeped me
natural
out.
phenomenon, but I was going to say it's creepy.
It
Yeah,
creeped
it's a
me
little
out.
creepy.
It does. It
Am I
really
predicting
creeps
the
you out.
future now?
it happens to me so often it don't even creep me out no more.
It doesn't even bother you.
Yeah, it's like
Superpower.
That's
You
your
see a
superpower.
Wow.
used to it.
So you guys have had experiences,
I
you know,
think
we're
so.
talking about,
Yeah.
natural phenomena and coincidences and things like that. You've had experiences with those kind of things. You mentioned your deja vu, and you say you have deja vu all the time. What are some, I know for me, one of the things that it doesn't really bother me, and it has happened to me, is the presence of like spirits. And it hasn't happened in a good little while, but I have had that. And, you know, some people don't believe in ghosts and all that stuff, or spirits. But I remember in our old house, I saw like a little boy walk across the hall, and it was just,
I'm
it
glad
did.
you didn't tell me that back then.
Right? Yo.
I'm so happy you didn't tell
Yo,
me
like
that.
not
I'm surprised
I
she
would-
didn't
Yeah.
tell you that back then.
I know, right?
I wouldn't do that because they were too young.
Yeah.
But
Dude, I was already scared enough going in through that
Right.
house. You know, with the girl was trying to run across just to not be like alone in my room. It's
right. And so I've had that kind of sense of you know, of a presence.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see
Yeah.
dead people?
that little boy may have been, and so I'm so curious to find out, like, was there a little boy that maybe died there? Like, I wonder.
Yeah, Realtor
I'm glad
didn't tell you
we
about that.
investigate that.
Right.
Yeah, right. The realtor didn't say that. No,
Right,
they won't
right.
tell you.
What have you ever had those experiences with that?
I don't know. It's weird because I'm less of a supernatural person and more of a sci-fi person.
Oh,
So it's not. It's less about like ghosting me and more about like aliens and stuff like that, or at least like beings of like another sort of like world or whatever.
Your mom is so anti-otherworldly.
They could
I know,
stay,
it's just
they
like
could stay right there.
I don't know. It's weird 'cause
Anti-space.
and it's not that I don't want to give credence to like the supernatural or ghost or anything like
Right.
that, but it's like I know that there's other things out there.
I know.
And you think like, there was just a comedian that once made this joke and I resonated so well. It's like, do you think stars are just out there for our amusement? No, there's
There's a
things
reason,
out there.
They
There's a
serve
reason.
bigger purposes.
Yeah, there's a bigger purpose for them being
I
out there.
totally agree. I agree with both. I believe there's other
too.
things out there, and I believe with spirits.
Me too.
So, I mean, who's to say that they're not like the one in the same
May-
type of
right.
situation?
You know what? Maybe.
If there can be other
Right.
worlds, they can be spirits.
Yeah.
There's science
I think so.
deeper and stronger than we know in terms of the abilities and things that we have to see and not see. I think
I
there's-
agree.
yeah.
I think people do have a gift in that way too.
Oh, without a doubt.
I get that.
I do too.
What, we only use whatever percentage it is in our
Yeah.
brain or whatever.
Well, I mean, that's
that's
kind
what
of
they say.
well, that's it's not
How do
technically
they know
true.
that?
Well, it's not technically true. I think someone kind of just
Made
threw
that
out.
up.
Yeah, kind
Oh,
of
that's
threw
not
that out
technically
there.
true?
Not really, because I mean, we use most parts of our brain to do other things.
Oh, wow.
Maybe they were thinking of it like in a thinking capacity, but we use our brain to do a bunch of different things.
So I'm sorry.
No,
So what kind of, you said the deja vu, what are some other things that you may have had?
Well, I know in terms of one time when we filmed, we were talking about a specific Family Guy episode, a
right.
specific song. And literally a couple hours later, I turned my TV on.
To the Family
The
Guy.
exact same episode with
true.
the exact
Same
same song
song.
was on.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's
This was a nice
weird.
little
yeah,
setup.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
it's so
Coincidence.
creepy.
You know what's crazy? When you just made me think about it. In this day and age, that is like with Siri and Google and all that stuff. It makes it seem like that's a thing because you say something and it pops up
And
on
it
your
pops
phone.
up on your
And
phone.
that's
That's
science.
so- yeah,
Think about
and
it,
that's
right?
science.
No, that's straight up
That's a good
science.
point.
I'll give
That
you
is.
that.
That's the
Because
science.
nowadays
That's
you
a
would be
very
like,
good point.
how did they know I was thinking about green T-shirts and then it's coming up on your
Green
and-
T-shirts.
I'd
green
be
t-shirts.
looking up the most randomest thing, and just
And it
ads just pop up,
pop
and it's
up.
just like, hey, I know you want something related to this. Like,
So is that
That
science?
is
Your phone
science.
listening
That
to
is
you?
science.
That's
That's
science.
science.
That's
That's-
technology.
that's
and
that's
all
technology
that.
listening in on you at all times.
I also had, we were talking about that energy. I had a situation where I was getting my hair done, and like it was a while ago, and I was gonna spend my little bit of change, my last bit of change. I probably should have been keeping for something else, but I had to get my hair done.
And you
So
did.
I had to get my hair done. So I was like,
This
I
has to happen.
sacrificed for this, but I really should have been spending it on something else. So I was sitting there, got my hair done, and the stylist, she gifted me the haircut. Yeah,
Not knowing
exactly.
anything?
Not knowing anything.
Well, she just was
Anything
like,
about your situation?
you know what, girl, this is on me today.
She did. Thank you, Monique. I don't even know if she knew that, but it was just such like how did she know? It's the energy. How did she know? It was something that was, and you hear this a lot. It was placed on my heart to do this, and that I think is,
that's some otherworldly stuff
Yeah.
that we might not be able to measure. And
I
put
really
an
do.
actual
That's
thing
true.
on.
So
I mean,
I-
there is a certain energy that's out in the universe that we probably can't perceive.
You can't
Right.
measure, count, capture.
Yeah, no,
Sometimes there's just those
Right.
things.
Absolutely.
I would
Absolutely.
sort of agree with that. It kind of goes back into the whole what Dad said, like it's all one and the same.
Yeah.
So it's like just it's like that old saying, like magic. In this case, the experience and all that. Like magic is just a science we don't understand. We just might not understand energy.
Right.
We
like
might
that.
not understand energy.
Because
like that.
things we can
Absolutely.
explain now, back in the day, would be magic.
You're
Yeah.
right. That's very true.
You're right about that.
So the difference between phenomenon and coincidence, what do you think the difference is I mean, we were kind of talking about that a little bit, but what do you think the difference is between a coincidence and a phenomenon?
The difference between a coincidence and
I mean, I would say, coincidence is sort of like a phenomenon is something like, I would think.
Major occurrence.
Yeah, a major
Right.
occurrence.
A coincidence is what?
It's like,
Something small.
coincidence is a funny little thing, like Maya's thing.
Or
And
numbers,
Yeah,
like
numbers.
the same numbers,
Seeing
the same
number all the
birthdays.
time.
We showed up here at the same time.
Right,
and,
exactly.
you know,
Right. And
That's
that's a coincidence.
insignificant.
It's not a big deal.
I think a
Phenomenon.
phenomenon is something that has to affect more than just yourself, too. You know what I
Interesting.
mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More big picture, I guess.
More big
Yeah,
picture?
exactly. Big
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah. So do you think
It's a major occurrence.
the phenomenon or natural phenomenon, do you think it's a real thing or do you think it's a fake thing?
Yeah, I think
You
so.
think it's
I mean, people make it to what they want to make it.
So I think everything happens for a reason. It might be a small reason, it might be a big reason, but I think that everything happens for a reason.
I agree.
No, I can see that.
I think so too. Everything does happen for a reason, and either it happens for a reason, but I think a lot of it is a lesson. In everything that happens, I think there's always some lesson or some meaning, and it sets you on. I'm a believer in there's a plan for you, and that those things that happen are just part of the plan.
I agree.
Cool.
Part of the lesson.
Yeah.
Chuck it to her to the other side. It's all love, just know we down to ride. No new faces, no strangers.